So I had made this video actually when I first came to Japan, and I ended up deleting it because I wanted to be positive, forcing myself to be positive. But for the first time in my life, I think I'm depressed, dude. And that's not to say that I'm not never negative or anything like that, and I can be a complainer sometimes, but it's not like, look at the things I'm complaining about. I've had an abnormal amount of bad luck in my life, right? An abnormal amount of bad situations. How many people can say they've been, wondering how long they're going to be alive since they were a kid? So many weird, serious situations, right? But because of situations like that, though, like when my doctor's telling me you could die, all this kind of stuff, being sick when you're a kid, being sick for your entire life. Depression is a extravagant luxury. Depression is, a luxury of people that, have people who are going to take care of them, the able-bodied or, something, right? When you're talking about, you're going to die or something like that, you can't afford to be depressed. You know what I mean? You gotta, that's not to say that when my doctors, tell me, oh, you could die and all these other health problems, that I was never, sad about, or I didn't cry, or that's not to say that I've never been sad about other things. Like, Jesus Christ, when I was a kid, when my dad killed himself the way that he did, I remember crying about that. And of course, there's been other times that have been sad, but generally, you moved on, especially because you think about my family, and there's so many, people that are depressed and, bipolar, that kind of stuff. And I never wanted to be like that, you know what I mean? That was why one of the weird parts about my life was that's one of the things that gave me motivation, you know what I mean, to get away from my family. I didn't want to be someone that was depressed and everything like that. And that's why it was such a, man, what a terrible bad luck when I finally was going to get away from my family. Only to then, oh, hey, we don't know how much longer you're going to be alive. Right when I got that modeling job, things were turning around. I found out I was good at video games, making money playing video games. The next minute, you're doing radiation, all your hair's coming out, and your life is over, And, like I said, so many people in my family, they found my brother hanging, found my uncle hanging. Dad blew his brains out after I told him he was about to die. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't want to be one of those people. That's why I was like, oh, God. You know what I mean? That's why, even though I'm a complainer, all my complaining, I feel it's not like abnormal things to complain about, right? You know what I mean? I complain about it, I get it out of my system, and I move on. Doctor's like, oh, another health problem, blah, blah, blah. Complain about it, bad luck, move on, because I don't want to die a sick person. I can't afford to be depressed with the amount of things that go on in my life, right? Defeated, yes, I get defeated, but, actually depressed, no. But recently, and, I think it started, so many years ago, maybe even part of the video game stuff did it. I was thinking, I had that epiphany, or maybe not epiphany, or I had that realization when I sort of, quotation marks, came back to video games, right? You know what I mean? And I was like, I will just prove, just to show that I am the best ever at this, right? You know what I mean? I was able to win all these tournaments without practicing like these other guys, despite having surgery on my hands, you know what I mean? Having to teach myself to play on new controllers. I proved I was able to win even despite my health and all that kind of stuff, right? Despite all these circumstances. And I was able to prove, brain-wise, you know what I mean? Although my body doesn't work the same way, brain-wise, no one can match me brain-wise in terms of what I can see in terms of a video game, right? Has nothing to do with, of course, making a video game. I don't know anything like that. I'm fucking retarded as fuck, right? But Dragon Ball FighterZ, I wanted to prove I was the best. And I think I proved that so easily, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Unless you're one of those. People think I fucking hacked a hospital. Oh, it's fake. He faked it, blah, blah. One of these weirdos. But other than that, I proved it all beyond such a shadow of a doubt that, year after year, game after game after game, Dragon Ball FighterZ, I can't believe how much shit I've even done in that game. And then I did Guilty Gear Strive. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I predicted that game. Look at Street Fighter 6. I just predicted that fucking game. But, Street Fighter 6 a little bit more newer. But, I think in Dragon Ball, and I was like, wow, dude. And I saw so many people lying about it, trying to act like I didn't do these things, people saying that I faked being sick. And although video games became what I've talked about in my health videos before, that health for me became a what is the word I'm looking for? A moral victory, right? But like I always say, moral victories don't get you very far in life, right? So I was like, wow, moral victory, all these health problems, and despite all these health problems, having to basically teach myself to walk again at one point, I was able to achieve a fake level of like coolness or how I look that, people steal my pictures on the internet. People think that I faked this stuff, right? And again, but I don't have anything to really show for that, right? Despite it's like a cool sort of like, wow, I can't believe whatever. There's no actual like monetary income from it or anything like that. It's like a moral victory. And I realized that video games became that. I didn't realize that so many people had lied about me still throughout these years, still have a grudge. But I realized that, wow, I came back and I destroyed this game so bad that all these haters came out. And it's like, wow. And I had that epiphany that, wow, I really am the fucking best at this. You know what I mean? To say like, and I know I kind of like talk shit about these guys now, to see people act like people like Desk are the best, and Desk are the best, can't speak, And I see guys like Maximilian who then wanted to pretend that he didn't know me after linking to my videos. There's a loogie for that, dude. We're getting over COVID again. Unbelievable, right? But I was like, wow, motherfuckers got millions of followers and they're afraid to admit that they know me now, even though despite the fact you can see that they used to link to all my videos. That's the crazy thing about getting COVID again this third time now. So the second time I got COVID, again, I'm going to put down because I don't want people to think I'm recording them. So I lost half the hearing in my left ear the second time from this second COVID. And now like certain noises for some reason, they must have like fucked up with my ears a little bit. My like hearing is like going randomly in and out for like big noises. It's like I'm not registering it correctly. It's weird for this third time now. Anyway, so the point is, video games, I realized, wow, video games, I could leave video games, like I said in that one video, and I made that video years ago, I could leave video games for an entire generation and no one is ever going to catch up with me. And it's like there's nothing else to do, right? Just like, oh, I'll randomly play video games online again. People were so insecure that I was beating them without practicing for years, just randomly playing, that they tried to get me banned again, and they did. Some like, oh, well, no, they only blocked you. You could just make another account. Well, geez, give me a fucking break. You can still make another account. Okay, fuck you. Whatever. The point is that I realized, wow, I've proved that I am the best at this. Now, whether some people just, they block it out of their image, right? Just like I've showed like some guys like, oh, I don't want to look at these videos of Clayton's that shows proof I don't want to believe it. You know what I mean? Some people are legitimately mentally ill and not good people, but I had that realization years ago that, wow, dude, I'm the fucking best and I have nothing to prove for it. And that's depressing. And I also said around that time, I also realized, you know, from a certain perspective, that my brother was getting older, and I was having these dreams about it. I'm like, man, if my brother's getting older, I'm getting older, right? And you know, I had saved all this money to travel the world, all this money, very, very frugally, you know what I mean? I have very little money. And, you know, then COVID happened, and, you know, finally, you know, I was like, wow, what am I doing with my life? I have nothing to show in my life. I have no talents for anything to make money, it seems, to show any real impact on the world. I talked about before when, you know, I don't want to like film while I'm eating here, but I talked about before, I had those moments in life where I thought I could make the world a better place. And I started using the free time that I had when I wasn't in the hospital to like fucking help homeless people. And I told stories like that, and I'm like, what am I doing? And that was so crazy because that was at one of the most insanely popular times in my life, you know what I mean? You know, my pictures were getting stolen on the internet so often then. And, you know, I had had a real bad turn for the worse in health again. And I couldn't even take advantage of all my pictures being taken. And the little time that I had, I was actually going around and helping people. And it did nothing, right? And I realized what a mistake that was. And it made me miserable. And I wasted such a... Well, I mean, can you even say I wasted it? I was so sick, what could I really do, right? But I couldn't take advantage of it, at least, right? And, you know, now the world finally slowly opening back up, and I think I went to Turkey first, and I wanted to travel all around Europe. And I was like, you know what? Turkey will be good because it's cheap. I can start off there, go to other countries in Europe, and I want to fucking help the animals. I want to make the world a better place. And look what happened in Turkey. The only person that needed help there was fucking me. You know, taxis, turning off the thing, taking down the freeway, saying 100 to let you out or we won't let you out. Purposely being given a dirty hotel room. You know what I mean? I got food poisoning so bad that I had to come back to America. Then in and out of the hospital again. You know, and I'm like, wow, that's all gone. Now I'm back in Japan, and I'm like, okay, we can do this, dude. We can do this, right? And it was just bad luck, bad luck, bad luck. And it's like, I can't believe the amount of bad luck I've had in Japan. And like, no matter how hard I try to like look on the positive side, you know, you don't just lose fucking $3,000, you know what I mean, out of nowhere, when you don't have fucking $3,000. You know, that's... So the point is, I've come to the point that I'm very not in a good place right now in my life, dude. Like, I've gone from being defeated to, I don't know what's actually holding me on to, like, life anymore. Like, I'm on like my last few continues, it feels like. Do you know what I mean? And that's not to say that no one supports me. Like, I know some of the people here on YouTube do, and I do appreciate the people that have helped support the channel. A few in particular have, you know, donated a lot throughout the past few years. You know what I mean? And any little bit helps, considering, you know, my videos get flagged all the time. And you know, I just think that, man, dude, my life is such... When I finally die, my life is going to be such a fucking great example of how... Look at me trying to fucking help those homeless people when I should have been fucking girls. I should have been using any energy I had just to fuck girls. I should not have used it to fucking help homeless people. You know, the video game shit... I didn't want to lie about anybody. I didn't want to talk shit about people like Tom Ass. So I got a bad reputation in the community, despite the fact that, you know, years later it came out that he was the good guy. People still gave me the bad rap for defending him. They forgot about that, obviously. You know, my life is just going to go down as such an example of how much bad shit can happen despite trying to, Turkey wanted to fucking help the animals, dude, and look at what fucking happened to me, dude. Food poisoning every fucking day. Taxi doing that shit, dude. The hotel. Now in Japan. I mean, look how this fucking trip is gone, dude. I've spent 80% of this fucking trip, almost 2 months now, in bed from being sick. Like, can you fucking imagine that, dude? I mean, again, I just realized that I've like crossed over from feeling defeated to depressed, and depressed when you're sick is not good, dude, because I'm already not doing good, dude, right?